You're 17, in your bedroom at 2 in the morning, staring at a screen full of red error text, and after 4 hours, something finally compiles, and a window opens, and a small white square moves across it because you told it to. Nobody paid you. Nobody was watching. And you feel something most people never feel about work in their entire lives. Almost 30 years later, you're in a conference room with lawyers on both sides of a table, signing a document that turns 11 years of your life into a number with 7 digits. Between those two moments sits the strangest career in America right now. One where a staff engineer at Meta clears $688,000 a year while a computer science graduate has a higher unemployment rate than an art history major, where the interview has almost nothing to do with the job, where a number that isn't your salary decides how rich you end up, and where in April of this year the CEO of Google said that 75% of the company's new code is now written by artificial intelligence. The ladder is still there. Somebody is sawing off the bottom rungs while you climb. This is every level of a software engineering career, and what it actually costs. If you like breakdowns of how careers actually progress, like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Level 1. The compile. You're 18 and you have 2 doors, and the internet will lie to you about both. Door 1 is the computer science degree. At a public 4-year school, in-state, tuition runs around $11,000 a year, and the average computer science graduate walks out owing about $31,000. At a private university, tuition is closer to $38,000 a year, and graduates of private nonprofit colleges owe around $39,500. Door 2 is the boot camp, 12 to 24 weeks, $15,000 to $20,000, and a promise. The biggest one, Lambda School, sold that promise with an income share agreement. Pay nothing now, pay a share of your salary later. In April of 2024, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau found that the company, by then renamed BloomTech, had advertised job placement rates as high as 86%, while its own internal numbers were closer to 50%. And in some cohorts as low as 30%. The company was permanently banned from consumer lending. That was the loudest promise in this industry. And a federal agency took it apart. Here's what the degree actually is. 2 years of math that never touches a keyboard, then data structures and algorithms. The course that removes about a third of the majors. And here's the part nobody warns you about. Your degree does not teach you the thing that gets you hired. To get hired, you grind LEET code, and the honest consensus is 100 to 150 problems, understood deeply, not memorized. You are studying, on nights and weekends, for a test that no working engineer has ever taken on the job. And the numbers around you are ugly. Roughly 110,000 computer science graduates come out every year in the United States, and the Bureau of Labor Statistics projects about 129,000 annual openings for software developers. But almost all of the new demand is for senior and specialized people. Your first program still compiles the same way it did when you were 17, though. That's the only reason you keep going. Level 2. The internship. You're 20. The internship is not a summer job. It is the entire hiring funnel, and if you miss it, you spend 3 years climbing back. Big tech interns are paid absurdly well. A software engineering intern at Google reports around $12,000 a month. Meta interns land between $8,400 and $13,800. Amazon pays $55 to $82 an hour, and most of them add a housing stipend of $3,000 or more. Annualized, a 20-year-old with no degree yet is out earning both of their parents. The reason is not generosity. Converting an intern into a full-time hire is the cheapest, lowest-risk hire a company will ever make. So they will spend anything to lock you in before someone else does. Which is why getting one is nearly impossible. Google receives more than 125,000 internship applications a year, and the acceptance rate is estimated under 4%, harder than the university you're attending. And the funnel starts absurdly early. You apply in August for a job that begins the following June, which means the students whose parents knew that timeline have a 9-month head start on the students whose parents didn't. If you get one, you spend the summer on a real but carefully fenced-off project. You present a demo to a room of engineers who are all being kind to you on purpose, and at the end you get a return offer. That piece of paper is the most valuable thing in this entire career, and you will never again work that few hours for that much money. Level 3. The new grad. You're 22 and the story splits in half. If you're in the top slice, return offer in hand, big tech, good team, you sign at what Google calls L3, and total compensation is now around $210,000 in your first year. Look at how it's built, because almost nobody explains this. Your base salary is maybe $140,000. The rest is stock, restricted stock units, RSUs, granted over 4 years, with a 1-year cliff. Work 364 days and you get none of it. The stock is the entire game. Over a career, engineers who understand equity end up with 2 or 3 times the net worth of identical engineers who only negotiated base. Now the other half, which is most of you. The Bureau of Labor Statistics puts the median software developer wage at $133,080, counting every employer in the country, and new graduates start well below that. And getting even that has become genuinely hard. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York publishes unemployment by college major, and recent computer science graduates now sit above 6%, higher than art history, higher than philosophy. In the field everyone promised you was a guaranteed job, 19% are underemployed, meaning they have the degree and a job that doesn't need it. Between 2022 and 2025, layoffs.fyi counted more than 600,000 laid-off tech workers, and every one of them was applying against you. And then there's the thing underneath all of it. Researchers at Stanford, using payroll records from ADP covering millions of workers, found that employment for software developers aged 22 to 25 has fallen roughly 20% since ChatGPT was released, while employment for experienced engineers held steady or grew. On Blind, the anonymous forum where verified employees post their pay under a culture so blunt its slogan is TC or GTFO. The post that gets the most replies isn't a brag. It's a new grad with 600 applications and 4 interviews asking whether it's like this for everyone. The replies say yes. Level 4, the mid-level. You're 25. You've shipped things. You know where the bodies are buried in the code base. You've stopped asking permission for small decisions, and somebody notices. You get promoted to L4, and the median total compensation at Google for that level is about $299,000. This is the first level where the company makes real money on you. It is also the first level where your ability to code stops being the constraint. Everyone here can code. What separates people now is picking the right thing to work on. And this is where you meet the 2 traps. The first is the 4-year cliff. Your original stock grant runs out, the refresher grants are smaller, and your pay can quietly fall while your title rises. For 15 years, the answer to that was simple: leave. Switching companies used to buy you 15 to 20%. That door is closing. As of early 2026, the median raise for people who changed jobs was about 4%, against 3.5% for people who stayed. For the first time since 2010, job hopping stopped paying, which means the escape hatch that an entire generation of engineers relied on is, for now, welded shut. The second trap has a name. At Amazon, it's unregretted attrition, an internal expectation that each organization hits roughly 6% a year. And when natural departures don't get there, people go on a performance plan, and most of them leave. If you've never seen a PIP, you've seen someone who suddenly stopped coming to lunch. What the calm senior engineers already know: the company is not a family, it's a counterparty. Be very good and very hard to replace. Level 5, the senior. You're 29. Senior engineer, L5 at Google, E5 at Meta, is the level everyone pictures when they picture this career. Google's median is around $425,000. Meta's is about $458,000. And this matters more than anything else in this video. Senior is what the industry calls a terminal level. You can stay here for 30 years and nobody will push you out for it, and most people do. And that is not failure. It is the highest paid stable stopping point in almost any profession in this country that doesn't require you to own something. But the job has changed shape. You write less code at 29 than you did at 25, and now a machine writes a lot of what's left. Google's own CEO put AI-generated code at well over 30% in early 2025, near half by the end of that year, and 75% of new code by April of 2026. The engineers who panicked about that are not the ones doing well. The ones doing well figured out what got more valuable when writing code got cheap: knowing what to build, knowing what will break, and being the person who can look at a machine's confident output and say, no. Your days are design documents, code review, and the meeting before the meeting where the decision actually gets made. You get handed a project that's on fire, and 8 people who disagree about why. You learn that most engineering failures are communication failures wearing a technical costume. A staff engineer tells you the line you'll repeat for the rest of your life. The code was always the easy part. What you're paid for is deciding what not to build. Level 6. The staff engineer. You're 35, and the ladder forks. One road is management, where you stop building and become responsible for people who do. The other is the individual contributor track. Staff, senior staff, principal. Google's L6 median is around $588,000. Meta's E6 median is $688,000, with the range running past $950,000. Above that, distinguished engineer or fellow, past $1 million. At most companies, fewer than one engineer in 100 ever holds that title. Getting it is not an engineering problem. Promotion at this level runs on a document, the promo packet, where you assemble evidence of company-level impact. You need senior people to write in support, and the committee that decides has never met you, which produced the most honest thing anyone in this industry has written about itself. In 2019, an engineer named Tanya Riley gave a talk called Being Glue about the work that holds a team together, the design review nobody wanted to run, the onboarding doc, the incident nobody would own, and how that work is essential, invisible, disproportionately done by women, and almost never gets you promoted. So you learn to do the glue work and to write it down like it was architecture. You are now, functionally, a politician who can read a stack trace. You're extremely good at both, and some nights you miss the bedroom at 17 and the white square moving across the screen. The exit. You're 45. Nobody hands you a retirement date in this industry. What happens is quieter than that. The median employee age across the top tech companies is about 31, against 42 for the American workforce. A 2023 AARP study found 64% of workers over 40 had seen or experienced age discrimination, the highest since they started tracking in 2003. Tech workers report it starting at 29. The recruiter emails thin out. The interview loop still wants a binary tree on a whiteboard after 20 years of running production systems. And one day you notice the room is younger than you every single time. So you pick a door before the industry picks one for you. Door 1, management, then director, then VP of engineering. You trade the thing you loved for scope and a much bigger number. Door 2, you leave and build the thing. Most startups die, and most engineers who join one watch a preference stack turn their equity into zero, but you're the founder this time, and 11 years later there are lawyers on both sides of a table. Door 3, the quiet one almost nobody talks about. You stop. 15 years at $300,000 and up with stock invested. Financially independent at 47, walking your kid to school on a Tuesday. Behind it sits everything else, stacked up. The $31,000 you killed in your 20s, the LEET code problems, the internship you almost didn't apply for, the vesting cliff you cleared by 3 weeks, the layoff email that arrived at 5 a.m. and used the word resources, the 2 years you gave a project that died in a slide deck, the promo packet, and the one architecture call you made a decade ago that is still quietly running in production. Somewhere tonight, a 17-year-old is in a bedroom at 2 in the morning staring at a screen full of red error text, except now there's a chat window open beside it that will write the whole thing in 9 seconds, and they're arguing with it and they still don't understand why the square won't move. Then something compiles and a window opens and it moves because they told it to. They don't know about the cliff, or the unemployment chart, or the glue work, or the promo committee, or the recruiters who stop emailing. They just know they made a machine do exactly what they said. That was always the whole trick. It never got old, it just got expensive. You close the laptop, you don't have a manager anymore. You have a weekend project and it compiles.